This is a Geek Leader. Hey guys, welcome to episode 0 of a Geek Leader. And my name is John Rouda. I'll be your host going forward with this podcast and all the other ones from a Geek Leader. And what I want to do today is kind of tell you about the show, the format of the podcast, how episodes are going to be, what you're going to get out of this, and also what I want to get out of this. So I want to start with why, because I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, and his TED Talk, and tell you like why I'm doing this. So the reason why I'm having this podcast and hosting it and creating the content is to help you guys become better leaders. I've seen at several of the conferences that I speak at and go to that in the technical and creative spaces, a lot of people are really good at what they do. They're really good at being creative and being technical and coming up and solving problems and coming up with solutions. And so that means they get promoted, right? And as they get promoted and move up the chain, they have to lead people and manage people. And that's a totally different skill set than the creative skill set that they had that got them there. And what I want to do is kind of share my journey and share the things that I'm learning and inspire people to help leaders in the technical and creative spaces be better leaders and just be better at what they do. I think that'll be, improve my life because I'll be able to work with people that are better at leading other people, and better teams will result out of that and better work. And, that will help me out, but it'll also help you guys out, help you become the leaders that you can be and what the leaders that are inside of you can come out. Also, another thing that I want to get out of this is to be a better speaker. So I speak at some conferences now. I do a few talks a year, and it's just not enough for me to get better at it. So if I'm forced to speak on certain topics every single week doing this podcast, it will inherently make me a better speaker, and that's another reason why I'm doing this. And the third reason why I'm really doing this is so I can learn from people that have been here before, that are better than I am at this. And having a podcast and a platform will give me the opportunity to interview some really cool people and get them out on the show so that you guys can hear straight from their lips the things that they've gone through, the leadership skills that they've learned, things they've done that haven't worked, and things that they do that work. And I want to share my stories as well as the others. The format of this talk is probably going to be similar to the TEDx style, unless my audience comes back to me and they don't like the format. Well, we can obviously change gears and shift that around. But right now I'm looking at the shows to be around 20 minutes or less in length, with the exception of the interviews. When I have an interview with someone, that will definitely go a lot longer. And because we want to get as much information out of this guest as we can, right? So we want to keep them in as long as we can and just grab all the information until we're done. I don't want to cut anything off short just because we're hitting that 20-minute mark, right? So that's kind of the show. I want to start out with one quick story, and that's my story of leadership and kind of where I started and what got me motivated to be a better leader. So I worked as a software developer. Before that, I was an IT engineer, just kind of moved my way around through database administrator and all kinds of other tasks and positions. And I was pretty good at it, so they promoted me and made me a manager of a web and mobile design and development team. I was not management material. Let me go ahead and just say it that way. But I wasn't very good at it, and I started to lose people. People were leaving for other positions. And I tried to trick myself and just say, well, they're leaving because there's more money or because our company doesn't do X or Y or Z or whatever. But when the reality struck me that they're leaving because I'm not a good leader, they're leaving to find a good leader. It really hit home that there's something I can do to fix this. And what really struck me was a TED Talk that I saw by Daniel Pink, where he talked about, that you could use autonomy, mastery, and purpose to motivate creatives. So I started to apply that with the people on my team, and things really turned around. They really got better. And to tell you how bad it was, during my first 2 years of being a manager, I always had at least one open position where I couldn't fill it. And this is from a small team. And at one point, 40% of my staff were open seats. So nobody there. And I remember one time in particular, we had 2 contract hires and an open position. And the 2 contract hires were brought in at the same day, and they were scheduled to convert to full-time employees at the same date. And they both turned in their notice at the same time. So that's when I was basically at the bottom of my leadership, at the gutter there. Now I needed to turn things around. But I'm happy to report over the last 3 years we've had zero turnover on my team. We've been pretty solid, and in a market where the average software developer in our city is 9 to 12 months at a job, and we've had 3 years, is pretty outstanding. I'm very proud of that. But what I want to tell you is kind of my story, the things that I've done that have worked on very specific topics, things that you can take today and start working and start using to better yourself, and also so I can learn more and get better, because I'm nowhere near exactly where I want to be. I want to be greater than I am when it comes to technical leadership. So I hope you guys will stay with me and hang out and listen to these episodes, and head on over to iTunes and give us a quick review or leave a comment. That would be fantastic. You can check out the show at geekleader.com, episode 0.